Welcome back to another edition of Driving Maul on Loud Radio, and so much of rugby to talk.
Yo, too much happening.
Plenty. We're going to be chatting to Robbie Kempson later in the show, talking about all the new scrum engagement laws and his thoughts on that, and his thoughts on the upcoming Bokke test this weekend.
And some very interesting questions from the public, as I've got some very pertinent questions as to what's going to happen up front.
Slacker. It makes our show fully interactive.
Can
like to be tweeting.
You guys, if you have any questions for Robbie Kempson on the Springboks or on the new front row engage scenario, just tweet us on at Judge Rugby or at Blokes on a Couch. You can use the hashtag Driving Maul. We'll pick it up. Awesome.
Straight into it. Province Club Rugby. Congratulations, Stellenbosch Rugby Club. Marties are the Western Province Club Rugby champs after a 58-17 home win over SK Warmers on Saturday.
Yeah, and congrats from my side as well. And the champions for the umpteenth time. They've been doing the business year in and year out, and it's
quite nice for a side from Boland.
Yeah. They're also the biggest rugby club in the world, incidentally.
Yes, they are indeed.
But it's what you'd expect from the biggest rugby club in the world. Last year they were pushed a little bit tight by Durban. Durban fell a little bit off this year. Durban and Hammies were after a while just focusing on the Community Cup spots, which we'll chat on in a bit. But great result. Basically last night Marties and Durban locked horns in Durbanville, and Marties ran out 17-6 winners.
Which, on the back of UCT beating Durban 17-13 on the weekend, means Hammies are guaranteed the Community Cup spot for 2014.
Yes. Top finishing open club in Western Province, and what a great honour it is for them, and also a great result for them. They're going to be pretty amped. Basically what that means, Durban went last year as the top club, yes. And we, Western Province, were given a wild card, which was given to SK Warmers. The rules of the competition state that the following year, you may not go as a wild card if you went in 2012.
That's right.
Okay. So
and you can't go as a wild card if you went as a champion either, or as the qualifier.
If you went the year before, you may not go as a wild card this year. So the only way Durban could have qualified was by winning or finishing above Hammies on the log.
That's right.
So basically, what happens is by Hammies finishing top of the open clubs in the log, that takes Durban and SK Warmers completely out the mix in terms of a wild card, should Western Province be given one, because there are 5 wild cards available in the country.
Yeah.
And every region must then write a proposal through to SA Rugby and say, listen, this is who we want to send and why we want to send them. So basically what happens, the only 3 clubs that are left in the Western Province Super A, should we get and choose to send, are Belvedere, Tygerberg and Belhar.
What about Helderberg?
And sorry, Helderberg, my bad. But they have finished. They finished bottom of the log.
Yeah, that's
apologies,
right.
But yes.
But and by rights, Tygerberg should go. They probably should have gone last year. They are the next best finisher that can qualify. So you'd think that'd be the logic.
They effectively will finish in 6th, which is halfway down the log, which is ironically where SK Warmers were last year when they were given it as well. Because last year it was Marties, Durban, UCT, Hammies, SK.
That's right. And then just to wrap it up, Hammy's got a away game this weekend to Helderberg. And if they win that, they cement second place in the log outright, because UCT have still got an outside chance of pipping them. They've got 2 games to go, so Hammies just need to make sure that they pick up a point or 2 on the weekend, and they will be guaranteed second place and going to the Community Cup. And a nice reward for the SA Club champs of 2011, 9. No, that long
Hammies.
ago, eh? Jeez.
Yeah, club
Time
champs
flies.
and league champs. Yeah, so it'll be good to see the boys are pretty amped and ready to go. But as everyone's been stating, the hard work only starts now.
Right, on to some European rugby. And how's our form? Last week we talked all about the launch of the Aviva Premiership as if it was happening on Saturday last weekend. And actually, no, it's happening this weekend. So just in summation to what we spoke about last week, only real big name signing was George North for Northampton. Leicester are obviously the defending champions. And you just want to run through the The fixtures for this weekend, Sharky.
Yeah, sure. Newcastle Falcons take on Bath.
They just got promoted again, didn't they?
No. They just scraped through. No, they did.
That's right.
Sorry,
yeah, they did.
geez, a year already since we had this discussion. Falcons take on Bath. That should be tough for Falcons. They've obviously lost Jimmy Gopperth, who was instrumental in when they went down. He was the player. He was the player of the year for them when they went down, and also the player of the year now that they got promoted. But he's at Leinster, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So he's moved away. So Falcons got Bath.
Then just in that Bath game, Gavin Henson is starting off the bench.
Yes. London Irish take on Saracens at Twickenham.
Must find out if Jeb's playing. I actually haven't touched base with him after those World Cup qualifiers, but we'll see if we can get
massive game for Irish to start their season, and Saracens obviously want to become champions again and push forward for guaranteed Heineken Cup spot. Next game is Gloucester and Sale. That's is that not a derby? No, it's not a derby at all, but it's a tough one to call. Sale were a little bit on the up last year. Gloucester pretty handy, and they're playing at home. I'd have to go with Gloucester. Northampton Saints and Exeter. That's in Northampton. You would think Northampton to win that. Exeter had a good finish again last year, but Northampton have lost virtually their whole front row, who have gone through to
How
Racing
do you
Metro.
lose Oaks of that size? Oh, you mean they've left?
Yeah. Look at you. Then another game, the last game on Saturday night is it's Wasps versus Harlequins. That's a little bit of a London derby of sorts, and you'd expect Quins to take that. And that's been played that says Twickenham as well. That's
interesting.
It's a double header.
It's a double header on Saturday afternoon.
What a cracker!
Lacquer.
And
nice day out if you're in London. Get out there.
Yeah. And then on Sunday, Leicester Tigers take on Worcester in Leicester. You would expect Leicester to win that quite comfortably.
Yeah.
So
Defending champs get us underway.
Damn it! Double header Twickers on Saturday.
Yeah, lacquer.
Shit.
You know how much of rugby there is on Saturday?
That is.
It's like proper rugby widows for Saturday and rugby orphans. Certainly in my house.
I feel a cough coming on.
On to the top 14, and they've been busy. They've had 2 games since we last chatted.
And a full round of games last night. Can you believe it?
And the one thing I did want to talk about is obviously there was a big discussion and the issues around the 5 box that flew from Argentina to France and then from France to Brisbane. Thankfully, Habana and Steyn only played 10 and 20 minutes respectively and came through unscathed. But it begs the question: why on earth did they have to go?
I haven't been a fan of it the whole time. I think I feel for the guys. I feel for their bodies. I feel for their eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, shame. They've been traveling so much, and it's a hell of a lot that's expected of them. And, I just don't think it's wise, especially going into playing Australia, who, I won't lie, I think would be favourites on Saturday.
Yeah, but, I mean, they had it pretty easy, old Steyn and Habana. Gotha Steenkamp and Janne Vermaak both played 70 minutes in the Toulouse loss to Clermont 38-19, then had to drive 3 hours to Lyon to catch a flight to Brisbane via Dubai. Jandre Kruger, I think, played about 76 minutes.
He played a whole game.
in the Racing Metro game, which was also a loss. The news out of the Bokke camp is that they look fresh and ready and whatever, and we'll get into that as we chat about the Rugby Championship towards the end of the show.
50 minutes into a test match, and you don't look so fresh anymore.
Indeed. In other news, Jean Smith has signed a 1-year gig with Toulon after retiring from rugby earlier this year. He becomes the 52nd South African plying his trade in the top 14 this season.
And that is only the top 14. So that's the Premier Division. I was having a look at we were obviously discussing it with a few other guys on Twitter last night, and rugbybanter.com have got, Rugby Banter site have got that entire list up of all the South Africans playing in top leagues throughout the world. And it's crazy, and I know of at least 6 guys that are playing in the B division or whatever the second division.
And
the not top 14.
I mean, then there's another 20 or 30 playing in the Aviva Premiership
in Italy and in the 1A.
Carry on.
Yeah.
In terms of the top 14 itself, good luck if you're playing on Super Brew, because it's about as unpredictable as the Currie Cup this year. On the weekend, after losing a game and winning a game, Clermont won, as we said, 38-19 over Toulouse. Grenoble got an upset win over Toulon with Matt Ghetto try at the death, and then Johnny Wilkinson, for once not being dead-eyed dick with the boot and missing the conversion for the draw.
Who would have thunk?
Yeah. And then Oyonnax losing 22-9 to Racing Metro. So mixed results there, but they also wins and losses for everybody over the weekend. Then last night, Clermont 55, Bayonne 0, 62-0 in all competitions at home for Clermont. That is phenomenal.
I've been talking. Well, we've been discussing
For a year.
I know for over a year, and it's been absolutely making my blood boil. I want to go there and watch the game. But South African Gerard Vosloo scored a hat-trick in that game. But 55-0, massive.
And then
55-0.
I know, obviously, the new recruits to the top 14, newly promoted, not expected to do much. They go and upset Biarritz 24-22 last night. So they played 4-1-2, lost 2. And then Toulon bounced back with a 62-12 win over Brive. What it means in terms of the top 14 is that there are 4 points between 1st and 7th, with Clermont top, even though they lost their first game, obviously with 2 big wins this week. Toulon with a win, a draw, and a loss. Castres with a win, 2 wins and 2 losses. You were talking off air about Rory Cockett last night coming off the bench in that game.
Came off the bench and absolutely turned the game on his head.
38-10 was the final score in that game against Stade Francais.
I think they were 7 points ahead when Cockett came on, and he set up 2 tries. He put Pedri Vandenberg away, and they eventually scored in the corner. He was sublime. Incidentally, Oyonnax have got Conrad Barnard playing for them, an ex-Sharks player.
Yes.
Fly half.
Yes.
He was pretty handy. He came off the bench last night, but he was pretty. He started at 10 and was pretty instrumental in their win on Saturday.
But the big one to talk about, and again, I mean, it's Castres with 2 wins and 2 losses have picked up losers bonus points and bonus points. So they've picked up 12 from their 4 games, even though they've lost 2. Racing Metro have got the same win-loss ratio, no bonus points, languishing down in 10th place after all their big money buys and spending in the off-season. So things not going according to plan at Racing. And then Oyonnax also floating there or therearound. But everybody's picked up a win already this season. And Brive, bottom of the table on 5, are really only 2 wins away from being back in the mix.
Well, the interesting thing for me is second from bottom is Biarritz. You would expect them. They've got Dimitri Ashvili playing for them, Eugene van Staden, ex-Sharks prop. They've got a couple of handy guys playing there, and they're not seem to be grinding it through. Oyonnax just been promoted. They're third from bottom. So, but yeah, it's interesting. And Clermont, top of the log after 4 games, it just didn't look like it was going to happen. And when they got thumped,
no, totally. But they were away from home. This weekend's fixtures, all their games are on Sunday this weekend. Obviously, with the midweek ties yesterday, Montpellier, Toulouse, Biarritz, Toulon, Brive, Bayonne, Grenoble, Bordeaux Beagles, Oyonnax versus Castres, Racing Metro versus Perpignan, and Stade Francais versus Clermont-Auvergne. Probably the pick of the games for the weekend, certainly from my side.
Yeah, I think the one game, Montpellier and Toulouse, you definitely need to keep an eye on. I'm not sure if they'll televise that here, but Montpellier are looking pretty handy. They're sitting 5th, and same points as Toulouse. Obviously, a win there would be crucial. And don't be surprised to see... Where am I?
You're in the studios at Loud Radio on Driving Maul.
Brive and Bayern. Where are... I've hit a blank. Anyway, Biarritz. Oh, they're not playing. They've got a bye this weekend.
No, they're playing Toulon.
Ah, that's right. Biarritz and Toulon, but Biarritz playing at home. That's what I want to talk about. Toulon pretty handy. There, incidentally, last night, everyone was talking about why Rory Cockett wasn't starting. That's how the conversation started. The top 14 sides have such big squads that they rotate. That's the one thing they do is rotate exceptionally well. Last night, Toulon, Johnny Wilkinson on the bench, Guiteau at 10. And Mathieu Bastereau, I saw a tweet, and my French is not very good, but he said that he was a flippin' unbelievable Guiteau at 10. So, Yosh, it's they've got so much to work with there, and looking forward to see what happens.
Yeah, Johnny Wilkinson, Sexton was on the bench on the weekend.
And last night.
Yeah, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
And then came on and scored a try, and actually, it sounds like he played all right. Moving south, enough with Europe. It's time to chat ITM Cup. Now, I don't know if any of you saw the Canterbury Bay of Plenty game this morning, or the Bay of Plenty Canterbury game this morning.
Yeah.
How was that try from Ryan Crotty? Never mind his bust through the gap and turn of face to get in under the sticks. The handling and the switch passes and all the shit that was going on all over the park. It was just, I just sat here mesmerised.
A player for me for that game, and obviously there were a couple of Whitelocks playing that were pretty decent, and Crotty too, but Andy Ellis at scrum off, he came off the bench if I'm not mistaken. either way, he was brilliant, and he set up a few, and there were a couple of big hits in that game, so it was pretty good. It's good watching the ITM Cup.
Canterbury, in the last 5 years, have only lost one game that they were leading at half-time, and obviously they were leading at half-time in this one, and it was 6-6 with 4 minutes to go in the first half, and they went into half-time with a 20 points to 6 lead.
Massive. And it's actually started the game, but I tell you one person who's impressed me, and I'm not sure how many games have they played. I think they played 3, maybe 4 games in the ITM Cup.
Yes, 3.
Tyler Blandell, and we saw him briefly 2 years ago for Canterbury, and he plays at fly half, and he's kind of like, we saw him and he didn't have a good start. He has been sublime in the ITM Cup, and he's just someone else that you could see that could just quite easily take over Dan Carter at 10. Not as explosive as him, but very, very calm, very collected.
A lot of Kiwis have earmarked him as one to watch for the future, and he certainly looks like he's got the game.
He makes line breaks at least 2 a game. It's crazy.
On to the Logger Wood, because we spoke about it last week, and we do. I'm a big fan of the Ranfurly Shield for the fact that it's a floating trophy, and you get to challenge for it through the season. If you want to hear Don's
story, please go back to every single show for the last 4 weeks. He'll tell you the same one.
Otago ended a 56-year drought holding on to the Logger Wood last week. They held the Logger Wood for 8 days. Hawke's Bay turned them over to win their first Logger Wood and hold it for the first time in 44 years. 2019 was the final score, but with 4 minutes to go, Buxton Popoalali scored a try that put the Razorbacks within 1. Hayden Parker missed the conversion, and Zach Guilford's Magpies hold the trophy.
Unbelievable. I watched the game, and it changes everything knowing that they're playing for something else. They were fighting really, really hard, and it was...
but it also leaves Hawke's Bay top of the ITM Cup.
Yeah. I still not 100% understand what's happening.
Yeah, I know. They play cross pools and tables, and
I'm just following the Ranfurly Shield.
So what it means is Hawke's Bay are top of the championship. Wellington are top of the premiership. They've played 4 games down there. And it all gets a bit confusing in terms of this cross-log stuff. And we should actually maybe pop I'm Johnny King a message between now and next week and ask him exactly how it all works, because I can't be bothered to go and read up on it.
He just needs to send me a long email explaining what the hell's going on. Because I actually tried on Wikipedia, and it wasn't... I didn't understand.
No, it was written in Kiwi. On to the Currie Cup, and this is also just becoming ridiculous in terms of predictions. Some interesting results from this weekend, and we'll talk them in reverse order from last played to first played, because the first played's probably got the most talking points in terms of drama and what the hell. But the Sharks turned over the Bulls 34-18. SP Murray certainly looks like he's going from good to better in terms of his running lines and angles. I've been impressed with the bits and pieces I've seen of him. Haimar Williams, Charles McLeod with a try on his 50th off the bench. And then Marco Wenzel, how was that take on the right wing to charge in for the corner for the 32-year-old?
Yeah, it was good work, and he was never going to pass the ball.
And he stole it out of the hands of whoever was standing outside him.
But they're 3 players, and they're all youngsters, and they definitely deserve a mention. And you've mentioned 2 of them is SP Murray and Haimar Williams. They've been exceptionally good, and we saw SP Murray in Super Rugby, Haimar as well. But Fred Zillinger? Is it Fred Zillinger at 10? Has been great.
Yeah, and he can kick.
He kicks and he distributes exceptionally well. But just one thing, I wasn't happy with Charles McLeod for the first few games. He, in my opinion, deserved to be on the bench. He turned the game on its head on Saturday.
Yeah, because it was a lot closer than the final score says for most of the game.
He scored a try that got the boys in the mix, and him clearing and running off the base was basically what put the Bulls to the sword. So well done.
Okay, on to drama number 1 from the Currie Cup this weekend. The Cheetahs beat Griquas 40 points to 20. Rocco Janssen, Worm Prinsloo with 2, Raymond Rule, Alga Watson, Kevin Laters with the tries for the Cheetahs. Griquas, Rocco Janssen and Rory Arnold with the tries. Rory Arnold, an Aussie lock that they've seconded into the side because they've got a huge problem with lock injuries.
I heard he went back home for a couple of weeks of holiday.
Yeah, well, but he made history, because he became the first player to ever get a red card after scoring a try.
Oh, wow. Directly after?
No, he bit the arm after.
Directly after.
Yeah.
I have a massive moan about this. Huh?
But now, in theory, if it is what they thought it was, surely it's a reversal of the try and a penalty to the Free State.
No, because the ref clearly stated that the try had scored and this happened afterwards. He did state that.
Okay.
My moan about this and my ref stress was, regardless of what happened, and he's been found guilty, no questions asked, and he's been given 7 weeks, which I think is a bit light in terms of what happened. But the touch judge said to was it Jaco Paper?
No, I don't actually know who was.
The the TMO said to the ref, I saw him bite his arm, and that's what gave him a straight red card. Personally, in that footage, you don't see him biting the arm. You see the arm going on the mouth. You don't physically see a bite.
Sure, but there's enough there for you to know that his mouth's there, and then he shows the ref his bite.
You can't see it. His words were, "I saw it." He didn't say it. His mouth was there. I can't see a bite.
Hashtag ref stress, Sharky.
Yes, went off.
But
after Friday, that just tipped me off.
But I mean, where's all this biting coming from? And then I picked up a story in Australia, just on an aside that I completely forgot about. A rugby league player playing in like club rugby league in Queensland has been charged with biting the cock of another player.
Was he French?
I don't know, but I've heard of cockfighting, but cockbiting is just...
I think he may have pulled his rods down and said to the ref, look at this. Nice one.
Quality. Send him off for lewd behaviour as well.
I would not have gone to the ref. I would have gone straight to the play and beat the living cock out of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we don't condone on the show, of course.
But then, and then Hilton Lobbits broke his arm in the game as well.
Really?
Yeah. So we'll talk about Griquas for this weekend, but they are basically losing locks left, right, and centre.
Hilton Lobbits, as much as he irritates me, he's got the right temperament and enough experience on his side to help the Griquas along. Like he's quite a hard badass, and I think the Griquas needed something like that to help them get a little bit of fire. It can work against them, but that's actually quite a massive loss for them.
On to the biggest talking point of the weekend, and that's the fact that Province can't score bonus point tries.
Right, we've got 9 minutes to talk about this. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the
No, I was just baiting you. 25-10 at halftime, Province are leading. Lions come back to end up drawing the game 31-all and pick up a 4-try bonus point, mainly through a knock in the build-up to one try that was completely missed, but a penalty try and a yellow card for coming in from the side, according to the TMO, on Damien de Allender.
Which, incidentally, it was the TMO that was telling it was Jaco Paper that ref this game. The TMO said to him, his words.
I've got more information for you,
and his words then prompted that decision. So we can't.
No, I'm not blaming Jaco.
Blame Papes.
No, not at all.
However, you just go through this. I'm gonna cool off in the corner.
Look, we've tweeted the visual because I filmed it off my TV and posted it almost immediately because I was like, what the hell is this all about? I want some views on this. But essentially, somebody's stretching for the line after being brought down by Groomy. As he's trying to place the ball, de Allender comes in from the side and kind of from behind and dives in on the ball, not on the player, slides over the front of the ball and stops it from going over the try line, right? I understand the whole from the side and a tackle ball situation, but everyone was still in motion, right? That's my first argument.
Yeah.
Secondly, so I can't fathom how it's a penalty try because I've been watching rugby's for the last 34 years, give or take, and how many times in games do you see players going for the line and getting it sealed off and people diving in and going upstairs for the TMO and Oaks lying all over the ball? Never seen this call made. But at the same time, Supersport asked Mark Lawrence for his view, right? And Mark Lawrence's response was, correct decision. We still think that's debatable. He says it was a tackle. Groom held Boshoff and brought him down to the ground in the field of play. Law 15 definitions. Boshoff is then allowed to reach out and score a try. Law 15.5. De Allender then approaches to play the ball. He is required to be on his feet. Everyone's still in motion. It's not stationary. Yes. They're sliding, as far as I'm concerned. De Allender, not the tackler, is required to approach the ball from behind the ball and play behind Boshoff as he must enter through the gate. There is no gate over the try line.
That was the thing. He wasn't directly over the try line, but I still believe that anything's fair. Well, everything is fair behind the try line. I still don't think so. He didn't, in my opinion, he didn't dive on the play. He went for the ball.
Yes.
Okay. And this has then caused them to go over. And then they've also one of the rulings was that he has ripped the ball while he's off his feet.
Yeah, that's cock.
But all this is happening. It's not like a tackle, ruck formed, get on your legs and do it. This is all happening in like 1 second.
Yeah, but like on a slow motion replay to Villiers, it probably did look like it was about 30 seconds of play that went on.
Anyway, guys, go and have a look at Blokes on a Couch on Twitter. We've just posted that YouTube link.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
not
just
the
find
greatest of footage, but hashtag Driving Maul.
Hashtag Driving Maul, you'll find it
Please, just ref stress us and tell us what you think.
What it means, though, is the Sharks are top on 14 points.
Cheetahs, sorry, just say that again.
Yeah, Sharks are top on 14 points. Played 4-1-3, lost 1. Cheetahs played 4-1-2, lost 2. Province.
This is going to be ref stress on
Province
another
have
level.
picked up 2 draws this season, and their other 2 wins have been by 1 point. They scored 3 tries in the first half, and yet again can't find the try line for the next 40. Right? It's ludicrous. Anyway, this weekend it's Griquas Lions, Bulls, Cheetahs, and Province Sharks in a triple header on Saturday afternoon, 3, 5, and 7 p.m. For Griquas, they've got a new lock pairing of their new additions, Patrick O'Brien and Victor Kruger, because Lichtoring Landman, Jaco Nepeng, Jonathan Ardendorf, and now Lobbits, as well as Rory Arnold, who hasn't been considered, although he's since picked up a 7-match ban, although some websites say the decision's only coming out on Tuesday, but I've picked up elsewhere that he got a 7-match ban. Either way, he's going to be suspended. So they've got like 2 new locks and 4 or 5 of them out with injuries and stabbings and broken arms and red cards and biting.
I don't mean to rub salt in the wounds, but do you know that this is how everyone talks about the bonus points and how important it is? Just to put things in perspective for you, the Cheetahs have, in their 4 games, got 4 bonus points, of which they've lost 2. That is effectively an extra win.
Well, it's like getting 2 draws, which is what Province got.
I don't remember them drawing against the Bulls.
Tony Janchi's missed a conversion from out wide that would have won the game.
2 draws in
4 games, and the
you
other
called
2.
That on Subaru?
And I called a 1-point win for Province, so I didn't feel
so
too
you didn't
bad.
call it?
No,
okay.
Sadly.
Just checking.
But they've won the other 2 games by 1 point. They've got a points differential of +2, and they haven't lost yet, which is just ridiculous. Lions side isn't out yet. The Bulls 3 changes. Swayze Venter back from injury. Former Hammies boy Jacques Engelbrecht gets a start after a stellar performance in the second half in a side going backwards on Saturday. Oh, he's ridiculous. And then he replaces young under-20 World Cup star Jacques Duplessis, who's another monster. Marcel van der Merwe gets a start because Morne Mellet is injured. The Cheetahs are unchanged for the 3rd time this season. Province concerns earlier this week around a back spasm for Tian Liebenberg have eased, and he's back. Province pretty much unchanged from what I can see.
Louis Schroeder. I cannot believe they've dropped Groom and put Schroeder in, and the reason behind that, Alice Gutierrez said in the paper. I read it in the paper
because he didn't make that tackle well enough to stop that into getting a yellow card.
It's because Schroeder apparently has a better kicking game. But
last year it was the other way around.
I was fucking exactly. I just couldn't understand it.
No, he's a doers, Sharky.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Yes. I've seen so on Twitter, actually. Someone might have said that once.
And then on to the Sharks, and he's back, Sharky.
Timmy Whitehead.
Timmy Whitehead is set to play another 30-odd minutes of Currie Cup before putting his feet up for 3 or 4 weeks.
Shut your mouth. Oh, Timmy, I'm glad to see you back, bud. This is...
he joins Louis Ludek in an exciting centre pairing, let's be honest. Butch James comes back into the starting lineup in what can only be described as a rotation policy because Zeelinga has done nothing wrong in recent weeks.
Who's not even on the bench? Oh, no, he is. Sorry, I missed that. Sure, I was a bit worried there for a second.
And then just on an aside in terms of ref stress, Sydney rugby player Daniel Mailata has been banned for 15 years after being found guilty of breaching the New South Wales Suburban Rugby Union Code of Conduct after assaulting a match official in a semi-final between the Petersham Colts and the Barker Old Boys on the 31st. The 19-year-old will not be able to play or have any on-pitch involvement until 2029 when he's 34. Now look, I understand in terms of assaulting referees, but the kid's 19. Can you show a little bit of leeway and understand that maybe he's not thinking clearly? And, I understand making an example, but that's a bit extreme.
You know what the thing is he can cross over to rugby league and play Aussie rules. Those are not governed by the same. So he can still.
And if he had any talent,
play with the
if he had any talent, the ARU would have made sure that nothing happened with it.
We'll
Super Rugby, when the new broadcast deal kicks in 2016, has yet to have a determined format. But Sanzar Both the Sanzar Chief Executive Greg Peters and Yuri Roo of the SA Rugby Union have confirmed that an agreement has been reached that a sixth franchise from South Africa will play in the tournament. Chaos. Promotion relegation will continue for the next 2 seasons. Yeah, 100%. We are going to play some music, and when we come back, we're going to be chatting to Robbie Kempson about scrums and Springboks and
just being awesome.
Yeah, and the like. And we're probably going to play some Oasis Morning Glory, although I don't know we'll get right through the whole track, but enjoy it while you can. Welcome back to Driving Maul. We're going to chat to Rob Kempson in a second. I need to talk into the mic, not over the top of it. Probably help.
What is the story, Morning Glory?
Ja, ek weet nie. Let's phone Robbie.
G'day, Robbie speaking.
Robbie Kempson, welcome back to Driving Maul on Loud Radio. Speaking to Don and Sharky. How are you, champ?
Fine, thanks yourself, big man.
Good.
Okay, thanks so much for taking the call. What's happening? How's the captain's run?
No, it was pretty decent for the young men. They're quite energetic at that age still, so no, it's not a problem at all.
That's why you have the whistle in your mouth.
You have a mirror in your studio.
Do we have a mirror?
Yeah.
Not yet, why? I'll go on the roof for you.
Because we all know that you've got a serious problem with your looks.
That's all on the radio, babe.
I face him away from the window, to be honest, Robbie. Robbie, we want to chat to you about the new scrum laws and stuff, but before that, I want to touch on EP Rugby and the Southern Kings and the season that you guys had, particularly around the talk about the increased Currie Cup for next year, and now the stuff that's coming out of the Sanzar meeting for an extended Super Rugby in 2016. Because I know you've been quite vociferous on this before.
Yeah, what's happened. So I think everyone's now moving forward, and they're looking to recruit a decent enough side for next year for the Vodacom Cup, and hopefully moving into the Currie Cup after that. I mean, there is talk of us being in the Premier Division of the Currie Cup, but we'll have to wait and see what SA Rugby makes decisions on that. But certainly exciting that we can build something now towards 2016, because we didn't have a sustainable base at the start of this Super Rugby season we played, which is why we've lost so many players. But going forward, we can now have the opportunity to build that base.
Absolutely, and it'll also, like you say, build the base in the sense that. I'm trying to find the right words, because there's been a mass exodus
player retention.
Player retention. That's what I'm after, because there was quite a large exodus from you guys after losing that playoff against the Lions. So hopefully there's more to it than just all talk from the boys in the higher echelons of world rugby.
Yeah, I think what's very positive is finally we've got a CEO that's willing to take Sanzar on. All the talk about us playing up north, and I know there's probably propaganda, most of it, but I think at some stage Greg Peters or Sanzar was a very worried man, because we do have the potential to play with other competitions, and us playing perhaps in a Heineken Cup might even spice up that competition. So I think Sanzar finally were almost held to ransom by SA Rugby, and you really led that charge, and I think we've now guaranteed our 16 to whatever competition format they have.
Cool. Robbie, let's get on to the new scrum engagement stuff. You played 37 tests for the Boks. How many scrum law changes did you go through in your career? Can you remember? Ballpark.
Not too many.
No, there wasn't.
Those were the good old days. They used to make a mark in the middle of nowhere, and your ball was your call, and the scrums just got together. So,
yeah, fold and push.
That kind of sort of happened towards the end of my career, going forward to where they got to now. But I think that finally, and everyone had a bit of trepidation with regards to the new scrum laws, particularly with the pre-bind. But certainly, I think it's been the best thing for rugby. Your props that are more technically astute will now come to the fore. The days of your average tight hit props getting away with murder, with the big hit and a charge, that's come and gone. So we're going to have more technically astute props throughout world rugby, I would think, and you'd see already Australia battling very much in the scrums because they don't have those technically astute props whatsoever.
So, okay, you saying, had this been in your day, we probably would have seen you trot on for 137 tests.
Possibly, yes. No, the body gets old before the mind does, unfortunately.
Don't we all know that? So crouch touch set is the new engagement. The one thing I wanted to ask you, because I noticed this, and I don't know if I was just imagining things, but I seem to notice a distinct difference in the intensity of the set in the All Blacks Wallabies games versus the Boks RGs games over the last 2 weeks, or the first 2 rounds of the Rugby Championship. It seemed to be far more intense in the Wallabies All Blacks games and seemed to be allowed by the ref versus the gentle coming together in the Pumas Bokke game.
Yeah, I think, the unfortunate thing about all these laws, they have to be refereed by the man in the middle, and his interpretation sometimes is perplexing to all of us. I tend to think that, as long as it's ear to ear, which is what the law says, and there's a pre-bind, and on the set call, if you can generate whatever momentum you can, that's fine. But the most important thing about this law, which the refs thankfully have started doing, and Andre Watson has policed it, is that the scrum has to be steady before he allows the scrum off to put the ball in.
Yeah.
Now, if they get that 100%, then there's no problem with how big or soft it is. Also, the RGs, and this even when we had the crouch touch set, they never went for a big hit whatsoever. They've always relied on the team units doing the scrum as opposed to relying on a big hit and chasing their feet up. So it could be because of the team that we were particularly playing at that stage, and also having that big massive win in the first test match, it kind of takes the fizz out of the second one, so to speak.
No, I'm sure. And then the other thing that I noticed, the All Blacks seem to have adapted the best in terms of what's very evident and effective, a second shove. They almost seem to pull back and go again after the ball has been fed in, and I haven't noticed it from any other sides across ITM Cup, Top 14, the Rugby Championship, Currie Cup, the works.
Yes, I think the All Blacks have been doing very similar training to exactly what the scrum laws now entail, probably for the last 5 years. So for them, adapting to the new laws hasn't been difficult. The most important thing about this new law and then trying to coach it is that you have to have the unity of the pack as opposed to an individual relying on a big hit. So as soon as you have your proper timing, like those good old days when you used to get in a huddle and dance around, as a scrum, I know you backs won't know much about that, Sharky, but it's all come back into the fray now. You've got to have the pack working as a collective whole, which is what the All Blacks do very well, and which Australia unfortunately are battling. But to have that sort of effect, you've got to have a decent front row. And you've got a guy like Tony Woodlock who's now played his 100th Test match. I mean, he's a phenomenal athlete. That's to have a lucid like that in your pack, you're obviously going to be dominating.
I just wanted to find out. Obviously, there's more energy used at scrum time. Now, obviously, with the bind, and then when they're making contact, and once a scrum's setting, everyone's pushing and sort of trying to gain an advantage, and then only the ball is fed, and then the pushing starts. How do you think that's going to affect the look and feel of the forwards in the future?
Yeah, everyone says you're going to need these much stronger front rows. I actually disagree entirely. I think you're going to need your technical props are going to come to the fore straight away, which they have already. You have to be a much more explosive athlete because you don't rely on the big hits and the weight and the momentum. And brute strength's not going to count for everything in this type of scenario. You've got to be able to manipulate which way you take in your angles once the shove starts coming through. So, I think you will tend to see more athletic props as opposed to your big old fatties that used to walk around the park.
One other thing I wanted to chat about, Alex Corbicero is, I've been watching him quite a bit, and he's been technically probably one of the better scrummagers out for some time, and he proved it during the Lions tour. How do you think this will affect him? Will he grow, or will he drop off a bit?
No, he'll grow. No, he'll definitely grow. I mean, as I said, you're particularly technical. I mean, yes, you get your guys with brute strength, like a 20-year Station, but Corbicero has actually got a technique as well as strength. If a guy like Gethin Jenkins had played his whole career with his new laws, you would also accolades would be sung about him as well. So, certainly guys like that will come to the fore, and you will see the guys that have relied on these big hits and packs like the Blue Bulls that have relied on the big hits and the momentum and all the weight behind them, they're now battling, and that's exactly, I think, what the referees probably wanted anyway, is that you're going to have less reset scrums. That's the most important thing. You're not wasting time at that area. But, rugby is meant to be about fair play, an equal play in all aspects. And now if you've got a pack that's dominating a pack literally because of the technical expertise, I think then it can only be good for rugby.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that are we going to see an increase in the number of tight heads? Because in theory, if you look at it, if you get a unit like the All Blacks who scrum like they do as a unit and they get that second shove going, they don't actually have to try and hook the ball. And with the straight feed under the hooker's feet type thing, where the hooker's obliged to hook on the defending side, a weaker scrum could get pulverised.
Well, it's the one thing that the RLB probably didn't think about, is that while one hooker's hooking, the rest have got all 16 feet firmly on the ground pushing. So, and now they want the ball down the straight and down the middle. But yes, you will definitely see more tight heads. And I think what you might start seeing is the good old days is that early, foot up strike from the pros and hookers, because there are ways that you can manipulate the position in front row to have a decent strike at that ball.
Okay, and then your thoughts on yellow cards for skew scrum feeds?
Oh no!
Yeah, well, I don't really like too many scrum offs out there.
You eat them.
That's the directive that's come straight from Andre Watson. I've seen the actual the writ that came through for that, and it's purely because the referees haven't policed it for so long.
Yeah.
Now they're wanting to make sure that it is policed, and as time will go on, as the scrum offs get used to the whole practice, I think the yellow card will fall away. But it's just to implement it right from the start to ensure that, yes, it is put 100% straight. I know that the referees get docked, for quite serious points if they are seen not to be adjudicating it put in fairly. So they unfortunately under the whip from Andre Watson. It's kind of just reffing what they've been told to do.
And then just in closing on the scrum thing, I've got two questions for you from some of our listeners and followers on Twitter. First is from @JW Kutsia, who said, if you had to convert a current South African loose head, not Cooney, into a tight head, who would it be?
Yeah, listen, I'm glad he said not Cooney, because he'll never play tight head. And if I was coaching him, certainly not. No, I think Trevor Nkani, I think deserves an opportunity. They've got 23 players and he's still not really matched 23. He's played tight head at school. I know he's playing the majority loose head now, but he would be a guy that I'd definitely have a look at, because I think his body shape fits the mould of the new tight head prop. He's athletic, he's explosive, he's got all the attributes. It's just a matter of making sure he's coached. And I think a guy like Peter de Villiers, who is a tight head, would be able to assist him in that process.
And then the second one is from @Boots&Bits, and I think you've touched on this quite a lot already in this chat. Are new laws better in terms of prop strength and not just weight, as one has to rely on upper body and leg drive?
Yeah, I think, if you look at the type of prop that you're looking for now, a guy like Cooney actually has the perfect body build for the new laws. Unfortunately, he's always relied on brute strength his whole life, so he's never had to have technique, which is why he now battles in that position. So you are going to have your more athletic, very much explosive type props. Tony Woodcock and Gethin Jenkins, those type of players will come to the fore.
Awesome, Robbie, thanks so much. And then just in closing, let's chat about the Bokke quickly. Your thoughts on this weekend's test? I mean, there's been a lot of talk around the fact that the Boks haven't won at Suncorp, and they've got a history in Brisbane. The Wallabies are hurting. From my perspective, I'm kind of expecting a narrow Springbok win. I don't think that. I think we're going to knock that on the head. But from a guy that's been in the mix and around that kind of environment over the years.
Yeah. What I think Heineck has done, and he's actually made the right call. I would have dropped Willie to the bench. He's got someone very solid at the back now, although he's not dynamic with his counter-attacking. So he's gone for a much more kind of conservative approach to this game, which I think is going to suit us against the Australians. And I know a lot of people have gone for a fairly close match. I think if we can dominate that opening 15 minutes, we could not put what the All Blacks got on them, but certainly we could get a good 10 to 15 point lead and probably win it there.
I think it's very important that we actually absorb the Aussies and break them towards the end, because they're going to come out firing hard. Where do you think would be the best place to do that? Will it be up front, or do you think we're going to be fielding a lot of up and unders?
No, listen, I think they're going to test a few of our players, there's no doubt. But I think Horwell's out. So you've got to attack that back. And Horwell is massive for that Australian back. And the fact that he's now out of the mix, I would keep it very tight. We've got dynamic backs if we've got to get a bit of time and space. So let's rather keep it tight. Let's suck in those extra defenders, making sure we keep them honest at the breakdown area, which is the area where they tend to dominate us, really. So if we keep it nice and tight, I don't think we're going to be battling with them.
Yeah, well, I mean, and Heineck has kind of showed his cards in that in terms of the size of the pack that he's picked, because if Urban's fit with Flip van der Merwe and then Bismarck and that front row plus that back row that we've got, I mean, and that's always been his game plan over the years, is to keep it tight for 30, 40, 50 minutes, and then once you've sucked the life out of them, let the backs loose.
Yeah, no, he's got a lot of grunt in the pack. There's no question about that. But I think coaches tend to go back to what they know, particularly in tough test matches. The way we played in the incoming test series, fantastic, was beautiful for us to watch. But when you get to these, our old rivals and your top rugby sides in the world, the All Blacks, the Australians, and England, you've got to go back to something that suits particularly our style of play and also the players that are on the field of play. And that is going to be pretty much what Heineke is going to go back to, is the way he coached the Blue Bulls.
Kempson, last question. Who's going to win and by how much?
Say what?
Who's going to win and by how much?
Well, the Springboks will definitely be winning this one. I think probably, most of these games tend to be high scoring, but probably this one might be a bit tight in the view of the way we'll play it. So probably a 25-12, maybe 28-13, 14 type of score.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Robbie Kempson, thanks so much for chatting to us on Driving Maul, and good luck with EP this weekend. I know you guys had a big win last Friday.
Okay, and next Thursday. Next Thursday, I believe you might be in town for a quick splash.
Yes, well, yes, Jockey. I don't know if I'm inviting you to that, though, but
I know where you're going, so I'm going to join you. But thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Robbie Kempson, awesome chat.
Thanks,
keep well. Thanks. Awesome. Robbie Kempson and his thoughts on the Springboks.
I actually know a little bit about scrummaging now.
Yeah.
I saw the look on your eye. Did you like my question?
Yes.
You nearly fell over backwards. Well, here we go. I won't lie. That's a great shot by Kay. What's it, 23-14, 25-14?
Oh, he's gone with a 12 to 15 point win for the Boks.
Oh, massive. I'm just worried about two things. If you look at 10 and 15 combos for both sides, you look at two conservatives versus two very flashy, and I want to see who's going to win, because I think the key's going to be there.
Look, I was having this conversation with at the Yellow Cap on Twitter today around the whole baiting.
I saw it. It was good. It was good fun.
About us trying to bait the Quade Cooper thing, and conversely, they were trying to bait the Willie Leroux, because Willie Leroux and Quade Cooper both have the ability to turn a game on its head with outstanding skill and a moment of brilliance, but they're also susceptible to the error that can turn the game as well. Cooper's known for those little no-look pop passes over his shoulder that end up in the opposition's hands. So it's going to be interesting. We'll get onto the Boks in a second. Quickly onto New Zealand, because it's a double-header from down under on Saturday morning. 9:35 New Zealand play Argentina. 12:05 Australia play South Africa. And the Wallabies haven't picked up a point yet in the competition. Fly half crisis in New Zealand seems to be gone for now. DC is back. Barrett's on the bench. Nonu has been dropped. They say he's resting an ankle injury ahead of the Bokke. Francis Saili on debut at 12. Looking forward to that. He's been entertaining. He likes to bust a gap and take an angle. Owen Franks has a groin injury, which means Charlie the hot stepper Famoina gets a start. Ben Franks comes onto the bench. For your information, boys and girls, here's a lovely stat for you. The RG's got a draw against the All Blacks a full 27 years before they did it against South Africa. 21 all in 1985.
Wonderful. I'm so happy.
For the RGs, Juan Martin Fernandez Lobe is back, recovered from his calf injury, to lead the side. He replaces the 9-week suspension victim Leonardo Senatore. I say victim, but he did bite Urban. Felipe Contepomi drops the bench. That'll just be a rotation thing to rest the 38-year-old's legs. Santiago Hernandez joins the impressive. Santiago Fernandez joins the impressive Marcelo Bosch in the centres, and Juan Martin Hernandez is back at fullback.
Yeah, I know we spoke about it a little while ago, but I don't know where I want Hernandez to play. Just in terms of his ability, but he's also had it and just never really sort of brought it to the fore. But 15 or 10, I'm glad to see him in the park. He's worth the watch.
Ben Smith has got 7 tries in his last 4 tests. Your money will not be wasted on having a flutter on him getting a few more on Saturday.
It's gonna be a tough game. And the All Blacks, I know they won there last year, but it's hard work going there and winning.
Where?
Don't we know?
Where? In New Zealand?
Shit, they're playing at home. Oh, shit.
It's 30 points to the All Blacks. Game over. There's my call.
Don't forget your 20 to the Springboks, my man. No, don't even come with that.
Yeah, we're going to chat about that now. Talking Wallabies, they are hurting. The Boks have been travelling, and some of them more than others, because the Wallabies, remember, the New Zealand and Australia have been at home for the last 3 weeks. The Boks have played in South Africa, in Argentina, back to South Africa, and then to Brisbane. Some of them went to Argentina, then France, then Brisbane, and even via the Dubai, apparently. Quade Cooper is back at 10 for the Wallabies. James Hall was out with a hamstring injury, probably misses the next 2 tests. Will Genia to Skepper. Falau at fullback. Sharky's been begging for it all season.
It's a no-brainer. Is it my earphones? My headphones?
Niak Fitty. It's going silent on mine too.
It's a no-brainer.
And then Nick the Honey Badger Cummins comes in onto the wing. Kane Douglas is in for Horwell. Morgan Tamua to the bench. Jake Schatz on debut off the bench. Ben McCalman comes into the side as well in the match 23.
Yeah.
There are a lot of fetchers in that makeup.
I just want to touch base with you in terms of you saying that the All Blacks and the Aussies have been together for a few weeks. You must understand that when Mackenzie took over the side, he had a week, maybe 2 weeks, to get the guys together for a pacing against the All Blacks. And let's be honest, they knew they were in for it. He had them together for a further week and did exceptionally well to take a half a beating in New Zealand. He's now had 2 weeks with his side to know what he's dealing with, to have the guys come to terms with what he wants, buy into his ideas more, and get things going, make some changes. The guys, I'm quite confident that the guys knew who was starting for some time, barring injuries, for this week's game. I promise you, they are going to come out all guns blazing. We haven't had time. Our guys have been training in little pods on different corners of the world.
I don't disagree, but I just look at this. Beestem Taroira, Bismarck du Plessis, Jannie du Plessis, Eben Etzebeth, Flip van der Merwe, Francois Lowe, Willem Alberts, Dwayne Vermeulen. They are going to pulverise the Aussie pack, because the Aussie pack is Ben Moen, Michael Hooper, Scott Foddy, as we said, Kane Douglas comes in, Rob Simmons, Sekopi Kepu is in, Stephen Moore and James Slipper. It's men against beasts, really, in my view.
It's massive. The only thing that we don't have that they do have is continuity, and it's going to be huge. We've travelled a lot. They haven't travelled at all, and it's going to come in. And the guys that we rely on to keep our side together were sent to Europe for a week and then had to come back, because that's the core of our side. And I'm still pissed off.
Look, at the end of the day, they would have had to fly. They probably had a little bit more flying than they would have done flying home and then to Brisbane, right? But they still would have flown. But I understand where you're coming from. Sideshow's back at 15. Pretty sure Mayer's predicted Falau at fullback for this one, and that's why he picked him. It's going to be a fun battle in the air for the high balls. Valilaroo to 14. I can understand Robbie's Kempson's view on maybe he should be on the bench, and I think Meyer would have him there too as an impact player, but Bjorn Basson picked up an injury, and that kind of negates the whole argument.
I don't think Valilaroo should be on the bench. I think he should be playing. I think he's a James O'Connor. I just don't think that maybe 15 is the place for him to be right now.
So Villy's at 14, Brian's gone back to 11, which is his preferred position, and hopefully we get to see a little bit of Habana magic this weekend. Flip comes in for Jandre, good, because Jandre Kruger got absolutely pulverized at the breakdown by the Argentinians 2 weeks ago.
Incidentally, he had a pretty decent game for Racing Metro last week. I mean, as we know, he played virtually a whole game, so pretty decent. I'm just, I think he's got what it takes, and I think he's had 2 bad games, but before that he didn't have bad games, so I think he just needs to maybe
look, and he may still play
it
because Eben Itzebeth is under a squirts cloud.
that'll be actually a good lock pairing, eh?
Well, they play. So they play. What, Flip and Eben? No, it's Beast.
No, Flip and
yeah, they play together at the Bulls. And then Bismarck is back. He starts his first test in over a year. Strauss gets to put his feet up for 60 minutes or so because he has been playing a lot of rugby in the last 12 months. Do you know what? I was a bit hesitant around my whole 20 call, and I'd kind of adjusted it back to...
Kempson's spoken you into it.
I'd kind of gone back to 7, but I look at this and I'm still going to go box by 20.
You have to because you called it last week.
Well, no, I was going to readjust based on the performance in Mendoza, but I just think when I look at the pack versus pack scenario in this one, the Boks are not going to do anything other than kick for the corners, put up and unders up, and try and maul for the first 50 to 60 minutes. And they will pulverize that Australian pack.
Wallabies by 2.
Oh, you are dreaming, sunshine. You know what we did forget to do? We forgot to do the Curry Cup.
I didn't forget. I was just waiting to get through it.
So in closing, with 2 minutes to go in the show, and thanks very much to Robbie Kempson for chatting to us. It was extremely enlightening here an international front ranker talk about the subtle nuances of scrumming with these new laws. This will be up on YouTube tomorrow morning at some stage, and you can download it and listen to it all you like and share it amongst your friends.
New Zealand, Argentina?
Oh, we forgot about... Well, I said 30, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've got New Zealand by 29.
Yeah, I said 30.
Okay.
I said All Blacks 30 points, comfortably.
As you were.
Going away. Right, Griquas Lions on Friday night. Saturday afternoon. Look, I just think the Lions are on the up and up. Their confidence must be high after their big win against the Bulls, and then they come from behind to draw against the Province last weekend. Griquas, they're running out of things in their engine room, and I'm going to go with a 20-point win for the Lions.
I got Lions by 21.
Bulls, Cheetahs. Cheetahs are unchanged. Bulls are damaged.
But Jock starting.
No, I still think Cheetahs will beat them. 12 points.
Cheetahs by 9.
Province Sharks. 1 point win for Province.
I'm going with a 2-point win for the Sharks. I got 3 away. I got 3 away wins this weekend, which helped me out 2 weeks ago. Last week maybe.
Yeah, look, I actually haven't even checked on my on where I am in Super Brew.
I are winning you.
Well, I know you took a yellow cap in our pool as well.
It's about freaking time.
Bastard. Yeah, so I've gone Lions, Cheetahs, Province. Sharky has gone 3 away wins because he will pick the Sharks in Cape Town.
What's the weather doing on Saturday?
It's overcast but no rain.
Is it raining on Friday?
No, there's no.
We'll have enough rain on Friday to count for Saturday as well, though.
No, there's no rain. There's no rain. But knowing the way the Curry Cup goes, the Griquas will beat the Lions, the Bulls and the Cheetahs will draw, and Sharks will thrash Province.
Hope you have a great weekend.
Folks, you've been listening to Driving Maul on Loud Radio. We'll be back next Thursday with more rug banter like you've never heard in your life. Sharky, awesome.
Thank you. Catch you later.